Guys, welcome to this session. My name's Jamie Johnson. I'm going to go through a review of the session that I did. I don't have the video. I had some problems trying to record the session itself. So today I'm just going over the outcomes or the impressions that were left on the sheet. And we can go through them together. Alright, so let's do this. It is 080625. I've got the date, got the intent. Show me the target site for the target 080625 from crvviewer.com today. We've got physical state, just some notes around the physical state, emotional state, relaxed, ready, peaceful, wanting, let's do it, and just a little doodle to get my brain into gear. And with that, let's kick into page one. Alright, so first on page one we've got the trace where I did the ideogram for the target. These are some of the notes, so let's have a look. Alright guys, so here we go with page one. We've got the trace. Before we kick into it, let's have a look at the target, just so we can draw some comparisons between what is the target and the impressions that are brought up in this session. So if we have a look here, we've got, it is an air tree, or the air tree, which is in a Madrid suburb of, is it Vallejas? Excuse my Spanish, but an air tree, which is actually quite amazing. It's a circular structure, has all these people around it, and it has trees and greenery inside it. It's multi-story. It has its own electrical ways for getting electrical energy with these solar-powered panels on top. It looks quite massive. It's a massive structure with a whole lot of structural structure to it for safety. It looks like it's hollowed out as well on the inside. If we have a look at the, got a lot of colours. We've got lots of pots and plants. It's a social space. It's a space built for the community so that they can hang around. That's great. That's an awesome idea. Then we've got we've got the bottom-up view, which is taking a picture from in the middle, looking up. And we've got the last picture here, which shows all the trees on the outside of that complex as well. That is pretty amazing. What a unique idea. And the design is quite neat. And it's in the middle of Madrid. Alright guys, so let's have a look here. We've got some vegetation surrounding trees. We've got, looks like several of these units in this neighborhood. It provides a cold space for the local population. Apparently the temperature can be around between 8 and 10 degrees, and the surrounding area will be quite hot. That's a great idea. And the electricity goes back to the grid, contributing back to the community as well. Alright, so let's kick into our trace, and I will bring up some photos and some explanations as to what it could be. For A, we've got initially lightweight, floating sensations, tingly in the top half of the body. When I have a look at that, I'm thinking, wow, if I was the target itself, I could associate with those descriptions. What else have we got? We've got falling, squeezing around skull, tightness around head. So that usually means there's some tight places that exist in the target for me. That's what it means for me. And it's very structural. What else have we got here? We've got the B, which is sort of the declare. Okay, label where you want point 1, point 2, and point 3, and then put a description of what they could be as far as an ideogram. and points to probe points. All right, so let's go here. We've got flow energy, which I felt. We've got squeeze, pressure and structure, so pretty much structure. Directional left side hearing, attention, so there's definitely some placements around this target as well. Let's carry on. So for the first one, we have touch 1. Feels like flows going past nose, cold smell, cold atmosphere, and cold flow. Skin surface feels cold, cold breathing, cold air blowing up nose. Cold flow in the direction up on face. So as I was sitting here and I was probing for touch 1, I could feel these flows going past my face, and they were going in an up direction in front of my body. So I could feel flows going past. It was very interesting. It sort of meant that, you know, this was exposed. This was a target that was exposed to the outside, maybe. Weren't too sure, right? But you definitely can't not have the description of flows going past your face. It sort of feels like wind. It could be wind or water, those sorts of things. Touch 2, point finger on right hand moved, felt physical sensation. Okay, so when I touched that, I felt something knock my finger. It wasn't, you know, if it happens, just chuck it down. Head feels like it's ready to, really close to something by my head. Pressure feels like right side has pressure as well. So there's a diagram of my head, and I could feel pressure on the left side of my head and slight pressure on the right side. This description was this pressure caused by something that's close to it? Either it can be a structural tightness where things are in close together. It could be something that's close to you and you can feel its presence. Those sorts of pressures. So that was touch 2, something that felt a bit surrounded my head and a bit structural in its nature. Let's carry on. We've got touch 3, skin feels cold, wet, some structure on arm surface, cold and wet, some structure on arm surface, feel exposed to air. Okay, there goes the air sort of declaration. Structures around face, flat panels, surfaces felt, and it feels outside. So that's just feeling the cold atmosphere, feeling the wetness, you know, that's exposed to nature. That's what it says to me. And that's all for touch 3. So let's go into texture 1. Feel structural body, head, arms, body, cold structures. So this is pretty much what I felt around my body. So I do definitely think that my consciousness was trying to present itself as the target, which was the structure here, and all I could feel was just structural forms around my body. I couldn't feel a shape. I can see a shape on the screen if we have a look at it, but I couldn't feel a shape. It was just structure around my body. It felt rigid. And that's why I drew my body with just rigid structural forms to it. Feel structures on left side of face, structures going into head, feels like a little heavy. Pressure in head all around. I think that's for this one. So yeah, I had felt structures in my face. So I felt on the left side of my face, I could feel structures going up and down the side of my face. I felt something going down the side of my cheek in a diagonal sort of way. So coming down the side of my head, off towards my mouth. I felt something going within my head or around the back of my head, and I felt something going over the top. So it felt like there was a big structural hand on the side of my face, and that's what I was trying to describe. These look like fingers coming off it. I couldn't feel too much on this side, but definitely the left side I could. Text 2. So for that, I think it's very much the structure of that air tree. My body's just sort of sinking in with it, or getting the forms back. Very early in the session, I think, but it's good. Texture 2, what I've got here is I've got my body. I've drawn a picture of my body, and I've drawn my arms without forearms or hands. And what I've put there instead are these. So flows of energy felt like coming out of arms or being expressed out of arms. So it felt like my hands were like jets, or just flows coming out of it really fast. It felt like movement, it felt like energy just coming out of it, being expressed or exhausted out, like an exhaust in a car pipe, exhaust pipe. It just felt like the rushing flow of this energy or flow, whatever it was coming out. So flows of energy. What else we've got here? Cold dots. So while I was probing on texture 2, I could feel these dots of coldness on my back. Now, having a look at the picture, I'm starting to think that maybe it was the solar panels that I could feel that were cold dots on my back. I've got here upper back like a wet towel, so it felt like it was spread across my back enough that it felt like the whole upper back was sort of very cold, but you could distinctly feel these cold dots specifically. Texture 3, what else we got? Arms feel tingly, cool upper back, motion, activity, energy, and excitement. So as far as I thought it was very similar to the one here, where it's sort of expressing in a different form or describing in a different form, and the coolness, cool upper back. Whether it's motion or energy, it's just energy, right? It's energy being used in that space, and I could feel it being very tingly. So if anything, I think it's just an extension of texture 2 and an expression of flow or energy coming from this device, either through the top of the device as just floating out into the atmosphere, or if there's energy being given off by this device. I suspect that there's probably some wind flows or some wind currents going through that thing. But yeah, it's good. Texture 3, same as texture 2, arms feeling the energy or energetics around my hands. Let's carry on. Temp 1, so temp 1 we have cold arms compared to body, feel flows happening across forearms, light floating arms. I put an AOL of wings, but basically it looks like cold arms compared to body, feel flows happening across arms. Maybe air is just running past whatever these arms represent as a structure. Not too much into it. Let's carry on to temp 2. So temp 2, we've got mostly cold on inside of arms. Feels like cold wind coming up from waist, going past face, heading in up direction, breeze like, face cold due to flow. Alright, so temp 2. So I was sitting here doing the probes on temp 2, and what I did feel was there were definite coldness on the inside of my arms. So in previous remote views, what I do get a lot of is I can find out if there's an inside of something or an outside of something. If there's an inside of something like caves or rooms and that sort of thing, usually the coldness or atmospheric descriptions happen on the inside of my arms, because it's inside. The inside of a structure is being exposed to air, and so I get to feel that. So when I saw this, I haven't seen it in a little while, but when I saw this, there has to be an inside. We're inside something, or it has an inside where these flows can be felt. And so when we look at the pictures, I can imagine that this bottom-up picture is very much the flows which I can feel being generated by this device. Either it captures it and it pushes it up through the middle of this thing, or it's engineered that way, but I can feel the cold wind coming up from my waist. I can feel it come from in front of my body, from my waist, all the way up the front, past my face, my neck, my face and my head, just going in this up direction. So not only does it have an inside, but there's flows coming from the bottom to the top. of this target. What else have I got? Temp 3. So very much, I think it's very much the target and the airflows that go through that target or that structure. Temp 3 is nose is cold, there's a breeze, pressure on sides of face, feel like it's heading to a point. So that felt like the impressions, I could feel something squeezing in on the side of my faces, on my face. So either that means that the target is particularly small in that specific area, and so it feels like it's being squashed, but really it just means things are close together. Pressure, structure, shape. So I've got an AOL of boat, so I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's the bow of a boat, feeling the pressure. If my head were to move forward, it would feel more pressure because I'm getting close to the point, but no. Just squeezing on the sides of the face, and it felt like it was going to a point, but I think that's just the structure of that target. There's a lot of converging structure points in here where the support beams are heading to a single point, so it could be one of those, but that's a stretch. All I can think of is there's a lot of squeezes, so a lot of structure where it's converging to a point, and that structure has a lot of points converging on it. So very loose, very stretchable, very possible, but not definitive. All right, so let's go to temp 3. All right, we've got colors coming up. So basically in this session, I basically just probe those probe points, and I see what colors sort of fill up my visual space with my eyes closed. So my eyes are closed when this happens, and then colors start appearing. Sometimes you get more colors, sometimes you get less, but whatever color show up, write it down. So when I probe point number 1, I got greens, yellows, blues, and black and whites. There's a few pictures that could fit, but any picture can have those colors in it too. There's quite a few pictures that could be it. So let's go to color 2. We've got darks, greens, whites, and reds. So darks, greens, whites, and reds. There's a lot of dark greens, whites, and reds in this picture. There's also a lot of blues, but I didn't put blue down. What we've got here is we've got pinks, reds, darks, and oranges. So I had a lot of warm colors in this color 3, and I didn't really believe it at the time, but you know what the rule is? Write it down. If it shows up, write it down. And when I saw this guy, I thought, oh wow, no wonder it was all these warm colors, because basically this place is got all the warm colors right there. Got reds even in different parts of looking at this target. So that was my colors. It's very plain, very basic, but as long as you can invoke or inspire these impressions to come through, it's a start, and we'll try and develop it later. Smell 1. All it is just breathing in while you're probing. So cold breathing is what I felt, and cool, just for smell 1, very simple. Cold hands, nose, skin surface. So basically what I noticed is my hands, both hands at the front. Were very cold, as well as my nose. So very exposed, very outside, very wet maybe. Smell 1, and that's it. One impression at a time. You don't have to find meaning in it. A lot of these impressions, it takes a few of them to get any meaning out of it. The task is just record what you feel, and hopefully over time you get better at feeling stuff and more detailed. Smell 2. Warm, dry, smell something sort of jersey-like clothing, wool or something not natural. Body smells, other people. I was smelling other people. I'm just thinking, this is a place for the community to gather, so it could very well be one of these photos or whatever. It's a warm day and it's sunny. Yes, it is. Smell 3, cold breathing through nose, smell body, human. So I can smell other humans there, or other subjects, more than one in a sunny day outside. Hear 1. So hear 1, I've got a picture of my head, feeling something by left ear, then structures. So I can feel structures around my head, and over here I can feel structure spreading out. So with this one, I could feel the structure from this point here just sort of starting to envelop my head, all around my head. Just like the previous one, where it sort of felt like a hand that was stuck on the side of my head. This one's very much in a sort of detailed version that it just was around my head, and it's sort of the shape of the target anyway, in a very loose manner, top down sort of thing, but something on the left was there. What we got here is what I also felt with hearing is I couldn't describe how it would envelop my head without going through the back, because this is supposed to be the front. My nose is at the front, and I could feel the structure going right around my head, the back of my head. Notes here, back of head covered by structural objects. So I'm starting to feel a bit more of the structure coming through. Yeah, that's all you can really ask for, is just improvements as you go. I got an AOL of headgear. You know, I've felt helmets feel like this as well, but this was slightly different. But anyway, hearing. I can not hear but sense structure a lot better. Here too, we have left side of head, structures felt. I'm starting to describe the finger-like structures surrounding my head. Little structure on the right side I can feel as well, so I've drawn that. So yeah, all these points, sort of like a hand, many points coming off. They look like all these, where these pipes join, you know, you've got all these things. It's all very structural. I think I'm feeling a lot of that intertwined structure that's happening in this target. Hearing 3, structures across my face and head. It just surrounded everything. It felt like a helmet, and where this one was only describing how it was going behind my head, where I could feel the structures, well, this time it was surrounding my head. It felt like a helmet, and I've felt helmets feel like this before, where there was just a wide space. It felt like a wide blank panel in front of me, and then the top of me was covered and the bottom of me was sort of like structured as well. That could very well be representative of the space underneath this target, underneath the air tree, and everything else is just the air tree being felt. That's what I'll relate it to, because of that completeness of around my head. That was really interesting. So that's something that I'll remember for quite a while, if I ever have it again. Object near target. So I drew my head, and I'm feeling that something's on the left. Not quite entirely sure what it could be, but feel presence of something, object, sound. Near target or sound. Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one. We have join 1. So join is about trying to get any human or subjective subject's impressions or the person's feelings at the site. So it's very loose. You try and connect with human feelings in this part of the exercise, and try and describe them as you feel them. Feel lifted, raised, feel light, constant alertness felt, feel warm even though skin is cold. Okay, so feel lifted, raised, and feel light. That could be the structure. It is lifted and it is raised, and you can walk underneath it. And I don't know if it's light, but it looks light. So maybe that's just the description coming through from my subconscious. Anyway, constant alertness felt. alertness, awareness, aliveness. The structure's alive with trees and stuff, so that could be the vitality of the site coming through, maybe. I have felt that coming through on trees where things are very full of life. Constant alertness. Yeah, I'd look around too. I'm not sure what that could be, but you know, if you're around the structure, you'd be watching everything everywhere anyway. Join 2 feels like rushing, feeling. I can feel like anxiety is active, maybe risky. So who goes and mans this thing? Do they go climb up? Maybe that's the feelings of having to maintain the plants. Who knows? Join 3. Feel smooth transition. Safer, not risky. Whole front of body feeling active, busy energy. Yeah. Smooth transition. It's supposed to be a relaxing space. And that's what I sort of felt with that smoothness. It just felt really calm. Smooth. Calm. Not risky. Yeah. Whole front of body feeling active. So this is a meeting place where people can do activities. So these could all be different activities that can happen. So you can have meditation, you can have activity sports, you can have all this sort of stuff. So, you know, it's not surprising that these emotions can come through. Just describe them in practice. Let's keep going. Page 6. We've got a snapshots. I've got a snap shape coming through. It's a bit sort of a crooked diamond looking thing. Not sure. It could be reflective of the structural patterns that I can see in those pictures, but it's sort of circular and straight at the same time. But you know, when I first drew that picture, I was not thinking that the air tree at all or something circular. It was something else. I was thinking vehicle actually. So yeah, you hit and you miss, you never know. Just keep going. Snapshot number 2. So I saw these. Now I only drew 2 of these poles going from this roof to the ground. I did see these bars crisscrossing all over the place, but I just thought there was so many that I was just getting confused. And I decided just to put a couple of poles, 2 or 3 poles, and that's it. I was unsettled in this part of the phase of the session because the visuals were so... Now that I look at the pictures, I was seeing crisscrossing patterns and all this sort of stuff, and I was thinking... No, that can't be right. And what I did was I didn't put down what I saw. And if I had put down what I saw, I would have drawn a lot more pictures closer to what the target looks like in those pictures. But all I did was just put a couple of poles in. I thought I was just seeing reflections of things. I should have just put as many poles as I could. But that's what I did for snapshot 2. So structure and shapes. So roof, supports, snapshot number 3, person, subject next to me. So I was feeling like a roof and a path, and I saw this dark figure next to me, and I felt like I was walking down a path, and I had someone next to me, and I thought that was that person that was making me feel something was close to me on my left. So I was expecting a person to be in this picture that was right next to me, and that would explain why I was getting these impressions from the left side of my body. But no, so sort of a path reducing down, going through some distance, and this path and more poles, and someone next to me. All right. Let's go down the matrix. Let's have a look. So matrix is sensorals, magnitude, topological, energetics, subject is physical, Paraphysical, Concepts, Symbolics, Persnal Responses, and Snapshots. Sensorals, let's do a quickie. Sensorals is very much what we've been doing so far, but in a whole body sense. Magnitude has to do with dimensions on size, big, small, those sorts of things. Topo is more about shapes, the shape of the target and that sort of thing, if you can get it. Energetics, it's about feeling energy from the site. So either it's in a motion format, a heat, temperature format, anything, or movement, or chaotic. So any type of energetic form, even emotional. Subjectives. So subjectives is looking at the site's emotion. So what do you feel from the site? What can you feel from the site, if anything? Physical is a modeling type technique, which is where you run your hand in space and you try and feel the structures that you're trying to explore. Paraphysical is very much anything but physical at the site. So we could have smoke, we could have clouds, we could have rain, things that aren't solid. This is what we search for in paraphysical. Conceptual, anything conceptual, anything that pops to mind is a good place to put the concepts. Symbolics, so you ask your subconscious what kind of symbol is at site that will tell me what this could be. Personal responses are things like goosebumps or sweating or heart beating faster, physical changes within your body that happen because of connecting to this target. And snapshots, which is just the visual technique to see if we can bring out any more visuals from the target site. All right, so on that note, let's go to the first Sensorals. So Sensorals number 1, what I felt when I was looking forward, when I probed, flows hit face and then flow wide of head and shoulders. So when I look at this one, I've got myself facing forward and I could feel the impressions of sort of like wind coming towards my face, towards my body, and it was spreading out wide. It was going out wide, like way out wide. Like it was hitting a structural force and then having to move and be redirected. So when we look at the pictures and I look at some of these pictures of these units, I'm thinking, yep, my body's put me in the target and I can feel gusts of wind come towards me and then get spread out. Magnitude, very much the same, where I could feel the spreading out just happening all over the place. More of an extension of this one, magnitude. It was just going out super wide. Did I get it to find out if it's a big or small structure? No, I just felt what I felt, which was way out wide. Things are avoiding me. Topological, I got a shape. It's not a circle, it's a point. So I don't know where I got that from or where that might have come from. I see a lot of triangles inside that thing, but you know what? There's a lot of triangles in everything. Energetics, let's have a look. So energetics, I could feel the flows. Flows felt coming from front of body. Hotspot felt on back. Yeah, I had a pretty hot spot on the back of me. I don't know if that's a motor where energy is spent, but you can definitely feel the energy of something hot that's poking at the back, and the coolness of the air sweeping over the front of your body. Okay, subjectives, so trying to connect to the site. Relaxed mind space, structures in elbows. So I felt structures in my elbows. It was really weird. Easy breathing, so easy breathing out in open air, getting more of a understanding of the atmosphere in this space. Relaxed mind space, everybody's relaxed. Everybody in these pictures look relaxed and having a good time and just relaxing. Under physical, we have, so as I was moving my arms around, I could feel something very wide in its shape. and I could feel like certain structures within it. So yeah, there really isn't too much correlation between the structures that I can see between my picture and the structures, although it was very wide, and physical structure wide for solid distinct areas. 4 solid distinct areas. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 4 levels? Anyway, that's just something we have to build up detail in our techniques. So you might be feeling, I might be feeling stuff, just that it doesn't correlate too much, and it's still the technique is still developing. Cold felt off all around, cool air. So very much, yeah. Paraphysical, just feel the stillness of air around me. Energetic energy all over skin of body, all over. Moist on the skin felt. So that's the moistness, energetic energy, so either the vitality or the wind. Stillness of air around me, so yeah, it ain't blowing today. Concepts, we have cold surroundings, cool flows felt, energetic skin change, static. So I could feel tingling sensation, like an energetic sensation. Now, I felt the energetic skin so much more on this one that I had to put, is it static electricity? Do they have to contend? They must do, because it's a structure in the middle of nowhere, well, in the middle of buildings. And that static energy can collate on it. That was interesting though, feeling the static. Weight feels light, excited energy and movement. Going forward, I don't know where I got going forward from. I know what I had in my mind was that it could be a plane, and that's probably where the going forward came from. Flying and floating. No, it's supported. It's not flying or floating, but yeah, it's quite massive. Symbolics. So what I saw was this big M with big sides, and I saw all these crisscrossing things. So I drew what I thought it might have been, and then I just drew the outlines which I saw, and I just saw crisscrosses everywhere, crisscross, crisscross, crisscross. And that was the patternation or patternization that I saw, which I can sort of see in this thing here. I can see M's and triangles and all this sort of stuff. So is it symbolic of this? I think it can come close. It has some associated with it. Constructions. So constructions. So it's a lattice, a multitude of many structures put together. You know, who knows, but it's, for me, symbolic. It's symbolic enough to represent the structure. Persnal responses, I've got goosebumps from the cold flows that I felt. And the perspectives, so snapshots for the last of the matrix, I got this beam, and I've got these supports, and I've got a path, and maybe there's something in the middle. What is in the middle? There's a little, if I look in the middle of this, in one of the pictures, we've got a little mound. Yeah. So it could be the structure. It's very loose, a very loose image. Snapshot 2, we've got more of the roof and more stronger beams, support beams, and I've got something on the a visual of an object or subject next to me on that. And, the picture over here, which I'm looking at, we've got the 3 people sitting on the bench. They could represent that big old dot. And we've got structures as well. But guys, thank you for joining me in this review. I find that describing my pictures a lot easier and better to vocalize and present. And you get a bit of something from my thinking as well, rather than just I'm in a state of remote viewing and I'm just trying to be the best detector as possible. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. See you later.